A very good evening and welcome to a Date Within a Set programme 152 here on the 21st of May. You are most welcome. And as somebody said, full house. Well, fuller house, more full house than we have had. You're almost welcome whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the catch-up. Good evening, Alison. Good evening, Ollie and Robertson family. Good evening, Jill, etc., etc. You are most welcome. I hope this finds you well, and I hope that you've had a spifftastic week, as indeed I have. Hello, Danny. There we go. See, there's two ex students, one after the other in my chat room. Amazing. Yes, basically, our opening music this evening. Oh, here we go. Well done, brother, indeed. The wonderful theme music to The Good Life, the 1975 series, which was, as Ollie said, set in Surbiton. However, there's always an however, isn't there? When I first moved to Surbiton in the 1980s, spent ages looking for the actual house, because the actual place was called the Avenue Surbiton, and there is the Avenue in Surbiton. However, I don't know how widely known it is, but in fact it wasn't filmed in Surbiton at all. I believe it was filmed in, I don't know actually, I can't remember, but I know it wasn't Surbiton, North London somewhere. But there we go. It was indeed, well, still is. It's one of those programmes that stands for test of time, doesn't it? So 1975, it's quite an iconic piece of music. The composer of it was Burt RHODES, and Burt RHODES was a very famous sort of musical director and composer. He worked on the Benny Hill show, the David Nixon show, the Paul Daniels show, and it was very much associated with live acts and the Talk of the Town show in the 1950s and 60s. And it really is a very special and quite complex piece of theme music. I really like that one. So that's why we had that this evening. Thank you. Indeed. You know, having visited both, Kate, I can testify that I think Surbiton is, of course, superior. I might be biased, having sort of lived there for at least 30 years, but there we go. Pinner. Now, what's the Norbiton connection, Kate? Norbiton was supposedly where the Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin was set, but again, I don't believe it was filmed in Norbiton. Exciting, isn't it? Anyway, I think we all should have some music, and I should have some coffee, otherwise nothing will happen in our fair show this evening. Tonight's tie is a little sort of graphic number, a one of a kind, by a tie manufacturer called Elaine Rippon. I have about 4 of her ties. Sadly, she doesn't make them anymore, which is a shame because they're quite iconic. I do hope that you enjoy this evening's show. Lots of things... Indeed, Miles. Lots of things planned this evening. You'll be pleased to hear. Otherwise, it'd be quite a quiet hour, wouldn't it? As always, if you're in the chat room and you wish to take part in the guessing the game and the composer or the context of a song, then please feel free, and I'll talk to you between the songs. Please also feel free to throw in your wrong suggestions, because there's at least one this evening which is the result of a wrong answer in the previous weeks. So it to some extent, it fuels what we play on the show. However, don't try and be cunning about it and say, well, I'd quite like him to play, I don't know, the Oompa Loompa theme. By putting that, suggesting that, won't necessarily mean I play it. I'm just saying that in case any of you really like the Oompa Loompa theme. You ain't going to get it. Anyway, enjoy. Ollie, I must listen to that Jeeves and Wooster because it wasn't, but thank you for the suggestion then. It was indeed thank you, Miles, from Kiss Me Kate from 1948. It was like the second opening song. We open in Venice. So I thought we'd have that tonight. I don't know why I thought we'd have that tonight, but there we go. We open in Venice. It's a sort of jolly good song. And yes, actually, Miles, I can't comment on the libretto, but I know you will know it's inside out, chap. I love the show. The music and the lyrics are amazing. Once upon a time, I rewrote the lyrics of that We Open in Venice for a primary school production. I was asked to do that, and it was incredibly hard to rewrite, Cole Porter's lyrics. Because, well, for several reasons, not only was he a master of humorous wit and lyricism, but of course, if you know about Cole Porter, You also know that his lyrics are absolutely ridden with naughtiness and innuendo. And of course, if you start rewriting song lyrics to "We Open in Venice" to make it suitable for 8, 9, and 10-year-olds, then you are bound to run into problems. There we go. Who am I saying hello to now? Well, hello, Auntie Ros. Wonderful. Mwah. And hello Martin, and a special hello Jeannie. Wonderful, wonderful you are with us here this evening on A Date with a Dinner Set programme 152. Sorry, Brother Mark, I'm just reading your comment there and I've gone out of focus. I know, it's a story of my life, really. It's quite sad, isn't it? Oh, now, look. Just before we forget about it, I haven't got by me, and I know we had it last week, but I just wanted to revisit the idea of Eurovision, not musically, but I did read this week that very unusually 4 of the songs from the Eurovision Song Contest from last week, 4 of those songs have made it into a top 30, top 50, which is very unusual, apparently, because normally, unless it's a sort of really cheesy one or a particularly memorable one, it comes in and out of the conscious very quickly. So 4 currently. I thought you'd like to know that. And even if you didn't, I've got the microphone, so I was telling you anyway. Anyway, I think it's time for a bit of coffee and on with our next topical song. Indeed, from My Fair Lady. From My Fair Lady of 1956, that was, of course, Wouldn't It Be Lovely? And the reason for playing that yesterday, the 20th of May, was Liza Doolittle Day. So When is Sweeney Todd week? Because I love Sondheim Sweeney Todd. We must have that whenever it is. But 20th May. Yes, in one of the songs, Eliza sings next week. On the 20th of May, I will call Eliza Doolittle Day when she's dreaming about the future and how important and wonderful she is going to become. And that was yesterday, so that was partly why we had that. Apart from the fact it's a lovely song on a lovely day. I know it's always a lovely day, isn't it, when it's a date with a dinner set? That's what I thought. But of course, the musical My Fair Lady, composed in 1956 by Alan J. Lerner and Frederick Loewe, Lerner and Loewe. Or as they appear in this picture, I must reverse this one, Loewe and Lerner. On the left is Frederick Loewe, the composer, and on the right, folded arms, quite confident pose there, is Alan J. Lerner, the lyricist. So obviously those two together, in addition to My Fair Lady, also composed Brigadoon, Paint Your Wagon, Camelot, etc., etc. But My Fair Lady is probably the pinnacle, I would think most people would say, of their success. Thank you. I couldn't remember which song it came from, Mars. Isn't that pathetic? And I know you know the lib inside out in the songs, and I should know it inside out, having musically directed it once. But there we go. Daisy, that would be incredible, wouldn't it? A run of days, weeks and months if we aren't careful. Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about your birthday celebrations then. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, if you're enjoying what you hear and see, then do press that like button. Do it right now. If you are liking it, make sure you only do it once and it will animate for you. If you do it a second time, by the way, it flicks off and I don't get the like. And when nobody likes me, it's terribly sad and I cry all night. We will move swiftly on to our next song, another well-known favourite here on A Date with a Dinner Set. Yes, indeed, by Jerome Kern from 1919. Hang on, what date was that? 1939. All the Things You Are. Thank you for that, Kate, very much. Yes, Miles. And I keep meaning to look that up, actually. In defence of my elder brother, should I say my very much older brother, very, very elderly, I thought that was quite a good joke, Mark, actually. Quite a good little play on words. Not quite worthy of Cole Porter, or indeed myself, but a very good effort nonetheless. Well done. And that was said without any sarcasm at all. Clearly. All the Things You Are, yeah, Jerome Kern. And it was first composed for the musical Very Warm for May. Well, I wouldn't say it's very warm for May. It's lukewarm, isn't it, really? But it is starting to get there. What is fascinating about that song is the way in which the chord sequence works in that. It's what's known as a functional circle of fifths. I mean, it's composed completely on the circle of fifths. Etc., etc., etc. It's very nice to work with when you're improvising around it. Another example of a song which is based on functional circle of fifths would be Autumn Leaves, which again is another standard which is used. It's very easy to improvise around it because you know where you're going, so to speak, and there you go. Yes. Oh, Alison, you know what happened last time you started saying funny words on this programme? No, not that one. Is that the same one, the Zinnia? Is that the thing we were talking about the other way? Well, I say we. You were rattling on about it. I mean, no, actually, very kindly sent me a photo. I think it is the same thing. I feel sure you'll put me right on that one. Now, what's going on? Yes, All the Things You Are. I hope you enjoyed that one. And just to say that this week's upload, if you haven't seen it, is lots and lots and lots of fun. It's the Neil Hefti standard Splanky, which is a splendidly splanky sort of jazzy song. It's got a real sort of beat to it. Do have a look at that. It's on the channel, and I'd love to hear your comments or get your likes on it. Oh dear. Miles and Alison must introduce you to each other. Yeah, I feel you'd get on like a house on fire. So there we go. As always on A Date with a Dinner Set, well, certainly these days, we try and have at least one new piece of music, which we've not heard on A Date with a Dinner Set, as whoosh, 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 whoosh. Daisy, I'd get a Specsavers, love. I'll take your word for that. Oh, you're all riffing off each other in a chat room, aren't you? With your attempts at humour. It's good. I think sometimes, though, with humour, it's nice to leave it to the professionals. I'm just saying. Anyway, back to what we're doing here, which is desperately trying to play and broadcast and keep a sort of running diatribe going. We are playing a song we've never heard on A Date with a Dinner Set before, and it is a topical song, another topical song. I know, 2 instances of topicality in one evening. You can barely contain your excitement. You are falling off the edge of your seat, and I haven't even played a note yet. Your anticipation is building. I can feel it. I need the iPad, and I'm, as always, staring around the room for it. Bob, I haven't forgotten about that Womble special. It's one way, certainly, to lose most of your viewers and listeners, really, isn't it? But it will happen. Yes, I thought a lot of you would know that one. It was one of those great hits, wasn't it, from the early 80s. Every little thing she does is magic, as so many of you said, by the group Police. And it was from 1981. And Mr. Sting was the composer. Of course, he's not Mr. Sting. I'm afraid I had to look up what his real name was. And one of my very old friends, gosh, she's so old, Daisy, and she said, oh, well, of course, it's not Mr. Sting. His real name is Gordon Sumner. No, I didn't know that. I don't know why I didn't know that. But Daisy, I think it's, it's before my time, really, isn't it? No, the reason that we have, I'm going to call him Mr. Sting, I think it's rather refined, actually, is that this week, Sting was awarded a fellowship of Ivor Novello, the Ivors, which have been going for since 1956. So there's only 24 fellows, and Sting was awarded one this week. That's the award system for British songwriting, and see, you all knew it. Oh, how does that work, Ollie? How does that fit in with my narrative there about being before my time when you know it? Probably because I'm Benjamin Button, really. Yeah. So every little thing she does is magic by Sting, Mr. Sting. I like that. From 1981, who was this week awarded a fellowship. Became one of the Ivors, as it's called. Obviously, you all know this, but if you've happened upon this and you're not subscribed to the channel and you would like to take part in the live chat, you need to be subscribed to do so. Many of you, I know, like to listen and watch without taking part in the chat, and that's fine. That's fine. Hey, Miles, settle down. Don't go away for 2 weeks and come back and be rude. Good heavens above. Oh, wow. Ollie, I'm sorry, I'm just reading that. That is a lovely little factoid. Yeah. My brother knows all about factoids, but he has an amazing cream that he gets from a pharmacy for those, so it's fantastic. On to what I hope is another favourite. Enjoy. I'm loving all these extra names that you are providing. Obviously, everyone knew the song, but in anticipation of quite a few of you having trouble with the spelling, I prepared a little something. Of course, that would be Nights in White Satin. Rather fetching, I feel. But of course it wasn't that sort of night at all, was it? It was the other sort. The Moody Blues, Nights in White Satin, those sort. Yeah. 1967, in case you were wondering, as composed and sung by Justin Hayward when he was in the Moody Blues. And he composed that wonderful, wonderful ditty when he was 19. Makes you think, doesn't it? Anyway, that was the Nights in White Satin. So it's always it's one of those classic tracks, isn't it? And always seems to go down well. Wow. I love reading this chap because you know, in addition to all the guff that vomits from my mouth, you do actually learn some amazing facts in this chat room, and it's particularly good night for useful information this evening. I'm saying that with a smile, but it really is, and I shall have great fun in having a read back through that chat before I delete it forever. So thank you for that. As always, if you feel so inclined and you enjoy a date with a dinner set and you would like to make a donation towards either some coffee or, more relevantly, towards the cost of electricity and Wi-Fi on channel Gigi the Piano Man, then you are most welcome to do that. The link is in the video description, www.paypal.me. I'm just rereading my chat. Thank you, Martin. Yes, he shouted somewhat excitedly. Filmed in Northwood. Now, Miles, you were talking about Pinner. I've got a feeling that's actually where they filmed Reggie Perrin. I don't know. We need to check these things. Isn't it fascinating the way these things are put together? And I think that's one of the reasons that these days I like to have a bit of theme music, a sort of 30-second wonder, if you like to introduce our programme, classic pieces of music, either from TV or a film or whatever, because it does start a discussion, and it's all about thinking about the music, I think. You didn't, Mark. Why didn't I know? Why did I not know that bit of your life, chap? Maybe because I'd already moved out of home by then. Good heavens above. Wow. Wow. And indeed, wow again. I think it's time for some more music before this goes rapidly downhill. Metroland. I like it. Okay, here's a little quirky whatnot. We've had it on the programme once before. Indeed, Ollie. Yes, it was famously used as Louis Theroux's theme music. And it dates from 1967. And its actual title is Miniskirt. And it belongs to a rather weird genre of music from the 60s known as space age pop or space age lounge music. It was quite short-lived. And the chief exponent of that was indeed the composer of that, Mr. Juan Garcia Esquivel, looking suitably 60s-ish there. Miniskirt was its title. He was a Mexican pianist, composer, multi-instrumentalist. And one of the things, in addition to composing his own sort of totally unique and balmy, absolutely bonkers tracks, was to do covers of famous songs. And he very famously covered a lot of Antonio Carlos Jobim songs, etc., etc. He's well worth looking up if you want something that's totally wacky. So that was Miniskirt from 1967. So I do hope that you enjoyed that one. Auntie Roz, Tommy Steele. Yes, indeed. Years ago, Tommy Steele used to come in to the hotel that I played at. Very lovely man indeed. There we go, you see. Carnaby Street is equally funky. Now, fascinating you should mention Carnaby Street. I was looking for some footage for that one. Some sort of Carnaby Street footage, actually. Didn't find any. So it's interesting, or relatively interesting, that you actually mentioned that. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Martin. Rise and Fall of Reggie Perrin was filmed in Ealing, London. Is Ealing quite close to Pinner? No, it's not, is it? It's amazing where all these programmes were filmed, isn't it? But Pinner does ring a bell. Pinner. There we go. There's your project for the week. Find out what TV series was filmed in Pinner. There we go. So I think... oh, yes. I need to tell you what's happening next week, don't I? I'll tell you what. Let's play a game. If I play you just 3 notes in a certain rhythm, I think you will be able to guess the theme that forms our special for the end of the month. Oh dear. I'm not sure if I'm laughing with you or... No, I think I'm laughing at you. Thank you. So next week's special, here are 3 notes in a rhythm that will give you a clue as to the theme of our special. So you'll have that in a minute, I feel sure. Meanwhile, I will play you a piece of music. Indeed, strangers in the night. I'm trying not to read all that chat because otherwise I'll join in. But if you ever want advice on what you can and cannot say in this chat room, then do give Alison a call because she actually controls the chat room and I think it's brilliant as well. Strangers in the Night as composed by Mr. Burt Kaempfert, the German composer, band leader, and as famously recorded by Frank Sinatra in 1966. Oh, yes, no. Back to... Indeed, those are the opening three notes of the original theme music to the TV series Star Trek, which I knew you'd get it from those three notes, you see. This is the theme. We're in space. Well, not literally, obviously. Don't be silly. Every little thing she does is magic. No, we've done that one. Our special for the end of May, next Sunday, the 28th of May, is all about space. It's set in space. It says there. I can see it. Set in space, you see. So songs that remind us of planets, space travel, aliens. I'm just looking around my pictures and thinking about my list and wondering if I've covered all my bases. Yes, moon base, perhaps. So do expect lots of favourites, and of course, as always these days, we do try and introduce at least one new piece. I think, off the top of my head, there's at least three pieces that are new to dinner set next week. Sorry to hear about your internet, Juan. I know all about Egyptian internet, indeed, but there we go. Ooh, out of this world. It might. I can't remember, Miles. One of the songs. One of the famous songs about the moon is on the list. I can't remember if it's that one or... yes. Anyway, find out. All the more reason to tune in and have you on the edge of your seats again with excitement for our special next Sunday. But now, with two songs to go, it's, of course, time to see what our friends over in Japan are up to. The two authors, Kotaro and Hana, do enjoy. So... there we go. Kotaro, and, well, both the authors, in fact, always like to have a lazy lion. And Kotaro, there, showing his character and his dexterity, a little akin to sort of rubbing your... oh, I'm smelling our paw. Rubbing your tummy and patting your head at the same time. He's very dexterous like that. But apparently... both of the authors, they're not really morning people. Yeah, not very active in the morning. I know quite a few people like that, actually. Just lounge around and sleep. But once they are awake. Their eyes are open, they're awake. So I'm talking rubbish, half watching what you're watching, but also reading the chat room. Auntie Rose, thank you for that dynamic suggestion, my love. I'll give it a miss on this occasion. Yeah, so this is a bit about their morning routine, which, as you can see, they don't really do much. But once they get going, as you know about our friends, the otters, Kotaro and Hana, they really, really do get going. I always think it's wonderful how let's call them parents, provide us with sort of a dialogue that's going on in their little lives. It's just fascinating to watch them, isn't it? So once they wake, here we go. Here's Hana. She's awake now, and one of Hana's tricks is juggling. She's very good at juggling, and you'll see in a moment. Yes, there she goes. She's got this amazing juggling skills, managing to sort of juggle a straw there. I don't think I could do that even on a good day, but she manages it with those paws and those claws. Yeah, if you've seen her before, she does amazing things like that. Very good. And in a minute, yeah, guitar is not that impressed with Hannah's skills. Ooh, a bit of a standoff coming there, I feel. Now here's a lovely photo. Have a look at this. Oh, look at that. If Katara hadn't walked all over his own picture of him when he was a baby. And it looks like that's another piece of merchandise that they have on the channel. They do some amazing things, actually. So if you want to know more about the Otters, their channel Kotzimet with 1.8 million subscribers, there is a link in the video description. So there we go. I like all these things you suggested for my Sorry, Daisy, I've just seen your rubbish now. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. We're going to have to ban this chat room. We really are. Anyway, on to our penultimate song this evening. Do enjoy. Indeed. My Mr. George Gershwin from 1937. Let's call the whole thing off. A bit like the chat room, let's call the whole thing off. It was originally composed for the film Shall We Dance? And it was composed in the last year of Gershwin's life. Say it how it is, Bob. Fantastic. Let's call the whole thing off is what it was. So just before we launch into our final song, do you remember? Well, if you wish, I suppose, to give it a like, to give it a comment and to share it on and to subscribe. All those sorts of things are important for the future, future happiness of me. Oh dear. For the channel. Now look, just before we go into our final song, it was only when I had all the songs together on a sheet. We've had some music by some veritable giants this evening, and what I call the sort of quartet that composed so much wonderful music from the 1920s right through to the 1950s. And of course, I am talking about the music of Mr. Cole Porter, Mr. Jerome Kern, Mr. George Gershwin, and indeed this chap who composed our final piece this evening. You might know who that is. You might know the piece. You might connect it all together. Let's see. But I think this is another suitable one for this evening. I do hope you enjoy the first appearance in 2023 of this A Date with a Dinner Set favourite. So we'll play this and then we'll say goodnight in our usual way. Do enjoy. Indeed, Mr. Irving Berlin from 1926. Blue sky seems appropriate. We seem to have turned the corner. Turn the corner, don't we, with the temperatures? At least it's warming up. I can feel the ground warming up underneath my feet. I know that because I'm able to go outside now without sockets on my feet. Sockets? Sockies. Socks on my feet. So I know that the earth is warming up. And that does bring us to the end of another Date with a Dinner Set. So a reminder that next Sunday at 18:30 is our special for May. Everything to do with space. Well, not everything, but quite a few things. And I do hope that you will be able to tune in for that. Do share the word of this channel. Indeed, everything we do on it, well, most of the things actually. You don't need to go into details about what happens in the chat room. I don't think that's advisable, bearing in mind the complete lack of humour from some of you this evening. But I do hope that you are well. Hello, Sam. Fantastic. I do hope that you are well, and I do wish you well in the week that is to come. So from all of us here in the studio, I wish you a very good evening. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for listening. Good night.